Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Tech Stack. Today I am going to start to discuss about new keyword, how we are going to create the object with the string using new keyword and the literals. This is a very important questions in Java. Comes from java.lang.string, and this string comes from java.lang package, which is the default package for the Java. So now we will see how we are going to create objects using a string and a string literals. So let's create the objects with the string literals, and let clear the picture about the how the literals goes to store the object in JVM, and how it is going to store the object inside the special areas, which is our string constant pool. So let's make it clear. So this is the our string constant full pictorial view which I have make for you guys. How we are going to understand the things first in Java context basically. So here you are looking into string as1 is equal to ABC, right? So this is the pictorial view, and that is the in the context of program we are writing there. String s1 is equal to ABC. So how it is going to store in a string constant pool area? That is the special area, special memory, and SCP areas we are saying in the Java context. So try to understand what I'm explaining and how many times I'm using that word. So this is the technical word, context word we are using for the uh, at the time of explanation. So use these keywords only at the time of interview. And I'm taking this session for the interview purpose only, not the whole java.lang string in this session. So this is the literal. This is how we are creating objects with the literals. String s1 is equal to abc. So s1 goes to store the content of s1 in the string constant pool. So abc is called as the content, and reference of literal is nothing but s1. So this is how the s1 has been referencing the abc content in the string constant pool. In the second line, the string s2 is equal to abc. Again, we are going to create the same object inside the string constant pool. So here we are going to create the duplicate object. So that's why we are going to create the literals objects to we can say like that we are just removing the duplicacy kind of things from the Java. This is how we are removing the duplicate objects. Don't no We are not allowing to create the duplicate object in the SCP areas. So this special memory allow these features. You are not able to create the same object again and again and again and again in the SCP areas. So S2 is equal to ABC are not going to create any other space inside the SCP. It will be reference the earlier which is created by the S1 only. So now S2 will be pointing to the ABC1. Now there is one string S is equal to Sneha. So it is taking to the this one Sneha, the content is the new, and they are not created earlier first. So the JVM has been responsible to check that the object content is the existing or not inside the SCP areas. If not, then it allowed to create. If it is already there, the JVM don't allow to create the same object inside the SCP area. So you can speak in the interview also. CVM is responsible to create the SCP areas, object inside the SCP areas in the case of literals, right? So you have to explain like that whenever the someone asks what is a string literal, how it is going to create the object inside the SCP area. Fine. So this is all about the SCP. Now check the comments what I have written there. It is saying here S1 and S2 refer the same content in SCP area. It's never goes to create another space in SCP area for the same content. So the reason is S1 is equal to is equal. It means S1 double equal to S2. We can say also S1 equal to S2 returns true for the literal comparison. Why it is returning true? Why? Because whenever you are going to create object with the S literals, and we are storing same objects in two literals, S1 and S2, so the content is same. In the case of S1, it is referencing the content of SCP area. Reference. So reference of that area is same. Area, that means the S1 and S2 both are referencing the same content. So that S1 equal to S2 is returning true for the literal comparison. Where whenever I'm trying to create object using literal, it will always create only one object which will be stored in a string constant pool area, which is a special memory. We are calling as a special memory. The note is there, garbage collector cannot access SCP area. Hence, even though object does not have any reference, still that object is not eligible for GC if it is present in SCP. All SCP object will be destroyed at the time of JVM shutdown automatically. So, like suppose whenever you are trying to create the object with the new keyword in a string, like suppose you are trying to create object using this. So what the note point is trying to say, I'm just elaborating here, right? So I am taking here a string is equal to new string of Amar. Fine. So here S3 is equal to new string Amar. So in heap area, Amar will be there, and the S3 will be reference only the heap area object, and it is storing inside the string constant pool also. So whatever object are going to store inside the string constant pool as a Amar, this is without reference, right? So that's what here it is saying. Garbage collector cannot access SCP area, hence even though object does not have any reference. It means whenever we are trying to create any object with a string S3 is equal to new string, means with the help of new keyword, it will create two objects. One will be in the heap area and another will be in the SCP area. The SCP area of the object will not have any reference, but in the its heap area, it will be have a reference, which will be the redirect to the S3. That is what this note has been trying to say. And is reference is present in SCP, all SCP objects will be destroyed at the time of JVM shutdown automatically, right? So this is all about the string constant pool. We have another, that is the string const. Try to create the object with the string new, a string with the new keyword, right? So this is the new keyword one. So let me speak about that. Object creation using new keyword. So how we are going to create the object in the string using new keyword? So let me explain. A string s is equal to new string, right? And it has Amar. A string s1 is equal to Bhaskar. So how it is going to create memory internally? Let me show you. Here s is there. So s is there. This one, right? This edge is pointing to the Amar, and I didn't round the Amar one in the SCP area. Why? Because it is without reference. So at whenever I'm explaining in the literals, the note one, the garbage collector has been JVM doesn't allow to the garbage collector to access of any object from the SCP areas. it will be destroyed at the time of JVM shutdown, right? So we don't have a worry about the it is unused object and we need to remove it, will be create the performance issue. There is no worry about that. JVM will take care about that. So what is the next one? String S1 is equal to Bhaskar. This is the literal one. This is how we are creating the object with the help of literal, and this will store only in the SCP area. See how I'm circle the Bhaskar and pointing to the Bhaskar using S1 reference, right? So this is about the string. With the help of new keyword, we are going to create object. So in the case of string S is equal to new string of Amar, it is creating two objects. Which one is in heap area and another one is a SCP area, right? See, Amar have don't circle in the SCP area. It means it is without reference. So take the look on note. Whenever we will try to create object in Java using new keyword, it will create two objects. That's why I highlighted the two objects, which will store in heap area and SCP, and S will pointing to only heap area object. But in the case of literals, it will create object in SCP area only, which will be only one object. Means it will create only one object, right? So that this is how the string constant pool and heap area internally store the object with whenever we are trying to create object with the new keyword and whenever we are trying to create object with the literals. Now we are coming to the one of the arised question, and this question has been arised on the whenever you are trying to create object with the string s1 is equal to new string, right? With it means why I'm speaking again and again string s is equal to new string, like that you are in practicing and you are trying to explaining. Whenever we are trying to explain anywhere, you will speak like that only, right? So whenever you are trying to create object with the help of new keyword, it will be create two object, and which one will be in the heap area and in the SCP area. In the SCP area one, which will be the without reference one. So here the intern method will play the role to get the reference of that Amar into the S3. So I am explaining there. I have also written there. What are the purpose of using intern method in java.lang.string class? By using heap object reference, if you want to get corresponding SCP object, then we should go for intern method. That's what I'm saying, and that's what I explained earlier. Amar have don't reference. Amar have no reference in the SCP area. With the help of that, we are able to get it. So I have taken example here, class string demo, and here I have written string s2 is equal to new string, and a student is there. See, s2 is pointing to the student, right? S2 is equal to a student, and the first statement, it is creating object with the help of new keyword. It will create object of two. Object of two means two place. It will create object in two objects, sorry, which is a student in SCP areas and heap area. In the second line, it is trying to saying string s3 is equal to s2 dot intern. Here only we are trying to get the object reference from the SCP areas in the S3. You can see there S3 issue dot intern. This view is trying to saying this student doesn't have reference when it create with the new keyword, but with the help of intern method, it will be creating object itself into the SCP areas. That means it is copying the object from the heap area and storing inside the SCP and giving the reference inside the S3 one, right? It means there is no student object earlier stored in the SCP area. That's why it is giving the reference to the S3. Otherwise, it will giving the earlier one. and stored inside the S3 one. So check that system.out.println S3 equal to S2. That's why it is giving false. Why? Because there is no any object with the name of a student in the SCP area, right? Now check with the S4. String S4 is equal to a student. It means we have already literals value inside the SCP area with the name of a student, right? At the fourth statement, it is trying to saying the intern method creates an exact copy of a string that is present in the heap memory and stored in the string constant pool. If not already present, if the string is already present, it returns the reference. It means with the help of S3 literal, it is already there because of s2.intern method. So here it is returning true. This is the reason it is returning true, because earlier it is created at the third statement, and at the fourth statement it is referencing the earlier one only. That's why it's returning true. Why? Because the SCP area is always pointing to the reference, the content of reference. If the corresponding object is not there in SCP, then intern method itself will create that object and return it. That is what trying to say with the help of s2.intern. This is what about the literals and intern method and new keyword. So this is how we are creating objects with the new keyword and intern method and literals. Thank you guys. Please do subscribe, like and share. Thank you.